Hey, it's Willis with Triple Falls here. We got another episode of the cast. We got Jacob over here, and today our guests are Alycia Grace and Jenna Vagel. I said it wrong again.
Yeah, you did.
Oh no,
It's Vagel.
Vagel.
That's okay. Everyone gets it wrong. Vagel.
We have a habit of doing that on the cast anyway, so par for the course.
That's okay.
Vagel. I practiced
How it
this.
Works. Yes.
She was teased when she was little and they called her Jenna Bagel.
I was. That's honestly why I don't like bagels.
No, they're a blessing.
I know.
All right. Well, you two are the co-founders of Perfect Harmony.
That's
yes.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, why don't you just tell us a little bit about what it is?
Yeah.
Do you want to go or do you want me to go?
Why don't you go?
Okay. We're actually just approaching our third birthday on October 3rd. It's supposed to be our golden year.
Mm-hmm.
But we started out, Jenna and I met in college. We were Craigslist roommates. Didn't even go to the same school, but here in Mankato. And she was majoring in mass media. I was majoring in communications. And we just both kind of had this idea where we liked the media field, but we didn't necessarily want to, be a newscaster or a sports reporter or anything like that.
That's right. So, I worked for the Mankato Free Press for a couple of years under Rob Murray, and he taught me everything that I know. I worked for the entertainment section. So basically what This is Perfect Harmony is we promote positive musicians, innovative artists, and sustainable communities. So it started off as a writing publication because that's what I was trained in. That's what Alycia was interested in. She was working for an EDM blog. We said, why can't we do this ourselves? I was kind of starting to get out of the newspaper field, not really having a feel for it anymore. I moved up to the Twin Cities with the idea to get a job somewhere, but Perfect Harmony just kept growing, and here we are 3 years later. We've got so much exciting stuff coming up. It's just Alycia finally moved up here, and things are rolling. So It's pretty cool.
And you two are based out of Minneapolis area?
Yes.
That's correct.
But you have a crew here based in Mankato too, so there's a little bit of...
Yeah, we're kind of all over Minnesota. It's nice having roots both here in Mankato. A lot of my family's from down here. Alycia has some family in Otana. And we just know the scene down here and have a lot... I always loved going to the bars and stuff when there was live music. So Mankato has a really big draw for that. And so that's another thing that we really like about this central Minnesota music scene.
Yeah, it was kind of exciting. Like when we kind of put this together, we were like, oh, we're just going to be like an online presence. And we didn't realize how much we had to actually locally grow our online presence. And so for that to blossom, where we're really involved in the music scene.
Yeah.
And then we still have friends down here that we're friends because of our mutual love for music. And so when those Mankato friends, Shane and Robbie, were like, oh yeah, let's do this. We're like, yeah,
we want to be a part of it. Yeah,
we don't get to say goodbye to this little piece.
Exactly. Our little family just grew bigger, and now we get to come down here more often. Yeah. So it's nice.
Yeah, that's special. Well, we're happy to get to know you and your project because we're involved in a little bit of similar things.
Very, very much so. I feel like we have very similar goals.
Yeah, and
goals.
Hopefully that'll lend itself to some good future collaborations. I know we've talked
Excited about it.
Music projects and a variety of other things. So
definitely.
We'll have to keep everybody tuned in on that.
Stay tuned.
But why don't you tell us a little bit about the bus project, because that's sort of fun.
Yeah, that's
Alicia's baby.
That is my baby. So I wanted to do this since I was 19. I'm 26 now. And I've always just kind of had this fantasy and idea to convert a school bus. I don't know anything about vehicles. I don't know anything about woodworking. Don't know anything about plumbing. Now I do. But so I just had this dream. I wanted to do this. And I think the birth of This is Perfect Harmony also kind of came with this, because there's always been the idea of how do I have a lifestyle with a job that I love that I can live out of a school bus and travel. And so when we started coming up with Perfect Harmony, it's we have to put down a lot of groundwork to get the brand going. But the idea is kind of in the long run is the school bus is going to be a studio space. We're hopefully going to use it for doing live interviews, creating content. When COVID ends, we're hoping to like line up events like all summer long, and the whole crew jumps in that school bus, and we each have our own medium that we're working on, and we kind of use the weekends to go to events and promote them, and then spend the in-between time, whether it's like editing our videos, writing our stories, whatever it is that we kind of like bring to the table. So the school bus that's my everything. It's going to be completely sustainable, and like at some point, I'm talking like vegetable oil. I have a composting toilet I'm working on right now, solar panels. And everything's like secondhand too, or free that I put in the inside. I actually found a metal sink in like great condition on the side of the road the other day. I cannot stop talking about this, but it's just like metal and light, and it's like 2 compartments, and it has like a little handle, and I've like been looking for one, and like we were like, let's go take a walk, and a block and a half from the house is the sink. So so the whole bus has been kind of like a as things come into it, and I like, it's what I work on next. So right now it seems a little separate from Perfect Harmony. We have like the 2 entities we're kind of working on, but they're definitely going to merge here pretty soon.
Once it's done and we can take it, her dreams become my dream. Ever since I met her, I mean, she's been talking about this bus, and I was like, okay, Alycia, you're going to live in a bus. And now that she's doing it, I'm so proud of her, for one, and for two, it's one more reason why I'm like, this is going to work. You have these dreams and these ideas, and this is Perfect Harmony is something that's grown into a dream. And it's, every day it's getting a little bit closer and closer and closer.
Yeah.
And I think that the farther you get on the bus, the farther we get. And that's what, COVID sucks, obviously. But it's been nice to be able to have this growing time and this creative time. And now we know what we want to do. And next summer we're ready to hit the ground running.
Hit the ground driving.
Hit the ground driving. Yes.
But if people want to follow
cool.
that, I use hashtag this is a schoolie, SKOOLIE. So I use that like on all social media platforms just for progress updates and stuff.
Is that a thing? I mean, do other people refer to their school bus conversions as schoolies?
It's like a schoolie community. Like those are all the Facebook pages I'm on, the forums I use, the books I buy. Schoolie is like the word for it. Yeah.
Throughout describing the bus and the vision for This is Perfect Harmony, you've mentioned sustainability. How is that important to you personally and relevant to the project overall?
I'm so glad you asked. So I spent a little bit of time doing organic farming, and it like completely changed my perspective on possible ways to live, first off. But second off, during my time working on these organic farms, I got to help organize a couple music festivals. And these music festivals, they're put on by these farms and these like sustainable groups. And so they prioritized the environment with organizing a large event. They like had good recycling and composting and sorting. And they like encouraged all the vendors to have compostable plates and things like that. And it kind of just like opened up my eyes to how much was possible, but how much we could learn while still being entertained. And I know that kind of seems like a basic concept, but like, we love going to live music events. We love going to concerts and festivals and all that. And just like to know that I can be there and having a good time and still have the opportunity to learn, like, this is why this goes in this recycling bin and not this one. Or this is what we did to take care of the environment, or like to nurture the lands before, after the event. And I think the reason we don't expect that when we go to these different events is because we haven't been shown that it's possible. And so I really think like emphasizing on like sustainability and taking care of the planet and having a good time while like kind of learning a little bit about that and seeing what's possible, it's going to turn more people on to like a more sustainable lifestyle and ultimately allow us to do this stuff a lot longer, I think it's like, a great learning opportunity. And there's like, I think there are more events out there than we realize that are actually making efforts to take care of the planet while throwing these events. Because like you see all that stuff online and it's like, oh, this big music festival came through and look at all these tents they left behind and look at this
trash.
But do you ever see about, for example, summer camp? They partner with the Permaculture Action Network, and you can go to the festival a few days early and pay a little extra and like do a sustainability class type thing. And then they do one project to like better the grounds before everybody comes in. Like, that's awesome. But do you hear about that in the news? No. So, like, that's what we kind of want to talk about is, like, this stuff is happening.
This positive sustainability efforts of festivals, and those are the events we want to go to.
Yeah, like which would you rather support? Don't you want to know which even concert venue has a glass bin and a tin bin and a trash bin? Like, could be wasted, and I'm still like, where's the recycling? Like,
Right.
So I think there got to be other people out there that feel the same. Like, they'll take the time to sort it if they're equipped. So, and then they know it's there.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, I'm rambling. I'm really passionate about this. But, there's two venues holding a show on the same night, and you want to see both artists equally, then what does it come down to? The environment of the place, the type of people that work there. Do you feel safe? Like, that's where like sustainability comes in. And maybe it's not always like the eco-friendly aspect, but it is like about caring about the people that are involved and like
the community involved in festivals. And that was one of the big draws for me to staying in it, is that it's such a community aspect and why we want to tell these people's stories, we have artists that we work with, musicians, the bus is one way to say this is our brand and come find us at a festival,
because the community is what makes it, hands down. And like a sustainable community is going to have people of like multiple interests, multiple backgrounds, multiple like age groups and stuff.
Power comes in numbers.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's something we've talked about that a little bit too, even when we used to be working with Red Rocks. We were like, why are we throwing away all these plastic cups? Like, is there a better option? And so I think it's really important to, even if there are things that can't be done or are difficult to do, it's important to be always trying to find out better ways to do those things. And certainly sustainability is important from an expense standpoint and from a environmental standpoint. And like you said, the mood of the place, the feeling of it being good rather than like, this is going to be a nightmare after, like there's going to be trash everywhere.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that's really cool. I'm glad you're focusing on that and highlighting it.
We were before, everything's like before COVID. We like totally had to change our direction recently. But prior to COVID, we were coming up with like a scale that we were actually going to hold up against different venues and festivals and we were getting ready to crowdsource what people valued when it came to going to an event. And then we were going to be able to give everybody a rating on like, is this a safe place for women? Scale 1 to 5. Is this a place that like cares about the environment? Scale 1 to 5. And then just so like we could help that place, it would almost be like a service. It was like, hey, like after experiencing this is like people, X amount of people care about this. You don't meet this standard, but here's now the resources to maybe help you like figure this out. Like we want to have that like collection of information. So, but that's now that we're not focusing on live events so much and more so about like building our brand internally. That's going to take a seat for a minute.
And it's still something that's important to us. And we're still playing around with that idea.
With your direction changing a little bit here recently, what does Perfect Harmony look like going forward?
So I'm starting a podcast we're hoping to launch it in a month. So we're starting to get into other mediums. So we've got, we started off as a writing publication and we were mostly just doing articles. And as it's grown, we've learned more about the internet and we've learned more about what people want and what our audience reads. And, some of our highest views are on the, can I swear on here?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good. I didn't know. The most shit posty things, like our number one viewed article is how to avoid the Wook flu. And so if you don't know what the Wook flu is, that's what you get at a festival after doing copious amount of alcohol and being around a bunch of people, basically COVID. But no, it's just, it's things like that really, those quick articles reading. And that's one thing I learned in school too, is just doing those different kinds of things. So to get back to it, we just want something that we want to bring something that the audience wants. So we've learned a lot more like live videos, live streams, podcasts, people want quick information.
Yeah. And so, and we started as pretty strictly like a publication, like a written, and photography type thing, because that's what we had tools to do. That's what we were kind of studied on. That's what we had the information for. And now that there's like a little bit more traction happening, that's, that goes along with like, okay, we're going to launch this podcast. And we want to be not as much like a publication for news, but we want to be like a collective, and we want everybody who's like working under this brand, if they have a passion and it somehow falls underneath the category of like artistry, music, community, we want them to be able to pursue that under this umbrella. So we have a couple, different people that are like, oh, hey, like, I'm kind of interested in this. Can I do this? And the answer is always yes.
Yep.
It's like, can you find a way to make this a positive thing? Okay, cool. Yeah, it's positive because you love it. Let's go.
Yeah,
So,
as long as it's still on brand with, within the media music industry.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a
We're
little bit of a
looking at it.
redefinition. I think it's really gonna like widen our horizons of like the more people we catch. Like working on building up the YouTube channel,
Yep.
TikTok, and
TikTok will be the death of us.
a couple other things. So.
Yeah, so just trying to make more of a online presence. And get away from
It's a
the
good
publication.
good time for that when a lot of the other stuff's shut down or unavailable. I understand you had
Definitely.
a lot of or some festival plans for the summer. What do your events look like when you go as Perfect Harmony? How have they looked in the past, or maybe how will they look in the future?
Such a good question. So in the past, it really depended on the size of the event. Larger events, like we do Electric Forest every year. That's our favorite. But when we go as Perfect Harmony, we literally just like stock up on stickers and like try and sneak cameras in and like bake security with big eyes. And so like that's one, so it's a lot more of like promotion, but we've been working really closely with Galactic Get Down. This was our third year with them. And that like looks a lot different, like these smaller events. We've also been working with the Romer Dome Familia. And when we go for them, what we have been trying to do is like when you're throwing an event, you are so focused on everything, like the technology, the security, the people. Like there's so many things happening that they don't have time to take photos. They don't have time to ask people about their, I mean, I'm sure they have time to ask, but asking people how they feel about the event and like what they're doing, what was their favorite part, and are they having a good time, and look at the costume contest winner and stuff like that. Like that documentation gets lost. And so when we go, we always set up a couple interviews with different artists we admire or that we've like worked with in the past, and then we make sure we're just like taking photos, and then continuously throughout the year trying to like share those photos and like reuse them when we're like talking about them, just to like help those events and
keep
like
gaining
even like
keep gaining gain traction.
yes
And mostly promoting, and we're big on promoting and taking pictures and keeping that conversation going all year round, because they have these one event a year, but they always have stuff going on under that name. So it's Get Down Enterprises. It's a lot of fun.
Well, that stuff really matters. That's how we got into a lot of this too, was that we wanted to host music, and then we're like, well, you could do more. Like it could be a thing where you're talking to artists and connecting with your audience and the communities, like the music community in more ways than just that. Because like otherwise you're stuck like trying to sponsor some event post or boost it and like get it shown to the right people, but you don't know who the right people are because you're not talking with them. So I'm really behind that idea, and it's cool to see the parallels there with our intentions too.
Very much.
And the future, hopefully, with what we're doing, will turn into like being able to like host shows like on location. As well as we were kind of throwing about how to like make us a live experience too. So we were throwing around seeing how we can get into like set up booths and host like panels where we like have people come speak on a certain topic or things like that.
Or we do the podcast live from outside the bus at the festival with art, and then have a little like live session. That's definitely something that we want to look into, and that's where the bus comes in, and the podcast and the collective. It all ties together at the end. So
yeah, that's really awesome. I wanted to jump back. Well, I actually have a question just personally, like the publication. So how did you get into writing, and what's that like writing for the kind of events you cover?
Well, I got into it, like I said, I was a mass media major. I took a lot of journalism class. My emphasis was in journalism. That's what I thought I wanted to do. And then I learned how to write at the Free Press, I learned how to write entertainment articles and kind of more brief, nice reviews, overviews. There's a lot that I learned there. And so that's how I've always loved live concerts. I've always loved music, and I always wanted to be involved in some way. And you know how most kids are when they're in college, they're lost and they don't know what they want to do. And so this opportunity got put in my lap. And so that's how I got into writing. And Alycia,
I just love to write.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. It's like one of those very few things I feel like I'm good at. And I went to school thinking I wanted to be a news anchor. But the more I wrote, I was like, I don't know, it just like is easy and it like kind of flows. And so like kind of like combining those things, and because we have like similar interests too. So it was like, oh, like we both have some like interest in media, and we both have interest in like the same type of cultures and scenes.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. We've swapped roles now. I don't do as much writing anymore. She does the basis of the writing along with Robbie and Shane, and I'm more on the back end of things.
Yeah, she makes sure like everything makes sense, like AP style and
editing. Yeah, I'm
mailing out the taxes.
Editor in chief, and
don't let me mail out taxes.
No, it gets us in trouble.
Nice.
No, but yeah, that's how. Yeah, it's just all kind of. She had this idea one day, and and I said, "Yeah, let's do it." Didn't think that it would. I mean. It's so hard to know, when you're young and just out of college too, you never know what's going to happen. And now we're here, and it's making these connections. I think we've got a good thing going. So, but I'm biased.
No, it seems like it. It's cool to, any business or company or group running today, like who's engaging with social platforms and trying stuff, like that's what you got to do. And that's what we've been doing too. We just started writing a little bit, got a couple of things on a blog, and we're
cool.
So that's like a weird space for me. I'm not used to it at all, but it's been fun to start exploring.
Yeah.
Send it over to Jenna for editing.
Yeah.
You want to give me some pointers?
I can.
That'd
she
be
has
cool.
like a style
Send it
book
on over. I got a style book. I'll let you know if you're
nice.
doing the wrong things.
Yeah.
I have a question. One of the reasons that we originally reached out is because I think our demographics, while being very similar, are just a little bit different. And you're very focused on the festival crowd from what I've seen. How has the community around the festival group in general reacted to basically having everything shut down for a summer? I mean, I heard a lot of people who were pretty devastated about I don't even remember the particular event, but I'll just let you answer the question.
There was this meme going around, and it was like, I hate to refer to memes in like real person, but there was this one going around right as things were shutting down, and it was like, when you figure out going to festivals isn't a personality type. And I was like, ouch. But I would honestly think that was like a really good kind of like for a lot of us, like we
discovered
saved so much money to like go to these things, and like this is where we find our new music. This is like where our brand has grown. And so I know we personally were kind of like, oh crap, but
what do we do?
I think the thing is though, for a lot of the people when these festivals shut down, we spent months in denial thinking that we were going to be able to do shows in September.
Yeah. Oh, it's just going to move back. Yep. Nope. We'll still get there.
So the scene was really hopeful at first. Like people were for the most part pretty positive that this was just going to be a few months, we're going to be okay. And then I personally think, and this might be a little biased, but I think like the big switch for everybody happened mentally when Electric Forest announced that they were just not doing it this year. They were the first festival that was like, no way. And everybody else was like, oh yeah, we'll try in a few months.
Pushed it back. And
so, I think it's been really cool watching the community adapt. Because the first live streams that were like really blowing up were just straight electronic music live streams, like, and we've seen now more like different genres and like maybe like show replays of like previous stuff they had recorded, but like, oh my gosh,
there were so many.
We were watching 2 to 3 live streams a weekend, FaceTiming with our friends all over, like FaceTime on the phone,
parties.
live stream on the laptop. So I think. Sorry, I'm rambling. I just, but I really do think that it kind of. I think we realized who our friends were. You
Yeah.
know, like, I think, like, while it does suck that we didn't get these, like, gatherings and stuff, like, I think a lot of people in that scene who's, like, used to this big camping trip every year, now they've been able to do, like, smaller, more
Little-
nature-oriented things,
Yep.
kind of with those same people who have that
Yeah.
same, like, let's go, you know, it's fun not showering for 4 days and sleeping in a tent. You know,
Yeah.
now we can do it, like, smaller scale a couple more times.
Yeah.
Like, I've got
and
so
I-
much camping.
And I know that a lot of other, you know, like, so we all have our group camp at Electric Forest, so we all camp with. And I know a lot of other people did this too, where they did like a camping trip. So our group, we went up north to a friend's cabin, and the same people that would come to the festival, except for Alycia, she wasn't there.
Yeah.
She was there in spirit. But yeah, we like had the same weekend as Electric Forest, we had a little get together in nature at the lake. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun, because we're not we were still hungover, but you know, not hungover in a hot tent in the morning. And I think that a lot of people had that same realization too. Like you said, I've done so much naturing this year and going to visit my parents, and I can't speak for everybody, but I do feel like it's kind of calmed some of us down in the festival scene and made us realize what's important and what's not. And like, yeah, maybe these events aren't always going to be there, but we're always going to have each other. And I think that that's the biggest takeaway from it.
It has redone our priorities a ton.
Yeah.
I'm actually working on an interview right now with someone for the website, and we're talking about all these electronic artists that have been like coming under fire. And I wish I could like read her quote too, because it was so amazing. But she was basically like, you know what? Like, this is like, with all these events being shut down, we're not distracted by like the bright lights and the glitz and the glam and like the excitement of a live show and all those people around us. And the veil's been dropped, and we're like kind of seeing some nitty gritty. So I think it's also like helping us figure out what's important. Like what Jenna said, like we're realizing like, oh, we don't want these like asshole musicians playing at these events anymore. Oh, we want more like women-centered spaces. Oh, like when it comes back, you know, festivals need to be better. So I think like we're raising our bar. I think that's really what's happening. People are spending more time with like family and nature and realizing who their important people are, as well as like kind of redefining what we want to go back to when stuff does come back. It's going to be a little different, but good different, you know. Growth is hard. It's supposed to hurt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe we're just growing up. I don't know. Do they call those growing pains?
Well, friction is good and lets you kind of reevaluate, like you said, your priorities and figure out how you want to move forward.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that you're pursuing that, because it's important to figure out who the people are who you're inviting to these things, and whether they're people that you should be kind of idolizing like that.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
That stuff really matters.
I personally believe that if you want to get kind of beyond that razor thin margin of profits on music events in general, you need a community who supports you. If you want to do these sustainability projects and stuff like that, people need to be incentivized to care in some way. So developing 100%. Those things, I think for everyone will end up being the best you can do, or at least in a festival space.
Most definitely.
That's awesome. Well, we're oh, wait, never mind. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the podcast and what format you're hoping that'll take.
So it's actually going to be a lot like this.
So much fun.
Yeah, I've had this idea for a couple years now. I just started recently getting into podcasts the last couple years, and I've just realized that what we're doing at print, we could do in your headphones, you know, like people can listen to it at work. So we're going to be we're kind of going to go in seasons. So our first season is going to be, this is the Perfect Harmony team. We're going to do interviews with the Perfect Harmony team. So we'll have the first episode is going to be myself and Brittany. Brittany Innes is my co-host. And it's going to be us two every week interviewing people. And, then we're going to do Alycia and then Robbie and then Shane. And then what we want to do is do the next season as like festival organizers or
like
event
community organizers.
Yep, community organizers, event kind of stuff. And then, have one season be musicians, and then, and go in that way, and kind of we're learning as we go, and I mean, you guys know, I'm really hopeful that it will grow into something really great, and I'm excited for it, and I'm excited to learn all about it. And so we'll have, it'll be an interview segment. kind of a bullshit segment where me and Brittany just kind of talk. We're gonna have games. It'll be fun. We'll play it out and see how it goes. But it'll kind of be like a whole radio show, podcast, fun.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to maybe have people do live performances on there someday, like you guys do the live video. I think we can definitely help each other a lot. But yeah, I think I'm very hopeful for it, and that's kind of my baby. So the bus is her baby. The podcast is my baby. I've been staying up countless hours just trying to figure everything out and trying to learn. And audio is not my strong suit. So we have all the writing portion of it done.
Yeah, we have like beautifully detailed outlines of like everything and what our goals and our missions are. Now and I'm like, to execute.
We need to record it. So we're hoping sometime in September we'll be releasing a date soon. But that's how close we are to, it actually becoming a thing.
Yeah, and it's going to be very like Midwest oriented to start with.
Thank
This
you.
is going to be a lot of like Midwest people that are hopefully recognizable to anybody in like the music and art scene, and just kind of like highlighting those that like care about their community, like are passionate about something within their art, and kind of just like giving them a platform to talk about it. So be goofy about it too. We want it to be a fun podcast. And
Exactly. Yeah, not so serious. We'll do the interview, but we'll have fun questions like if you could choose between a donut and a cinnamon roll, like stupid stuff
What
like
would
that.
you
What would you
choose?
choose?
Yeah.
A donut. Vegan donuts.
Oh, cinnamon roll.
Vegan chocolate donuts with sprinkles.
Is that a thing that can be had here in Mankato? Do you know vegan chocolate donuts with sprinkles here?
Not in Mankato. There was a lady up in the cities that made the best vegan chocolate donuts when I worked at a vegan restaurant up there, Fig and Faro. But I don't think she's in business anymore. I'm so sorry. I bet you can make a dang chocolate donut.
Yeah, because you're new vegan. You've only been doing it for how many months now?
Last October is how long I've been doing it.
Okay,
I think that I could not make a dang vegan chocolate donut. That's why I'm so intrigued. I think it would be bad. I'm a trash vegan.
What food do you miss the most?
No, I haven't really. I mean, the only thing that I'm regularly disappointed by is vegan pizza.
Yeah.
So, like, if I have bad vegan pizza, I'm like, well, it could be better. But then you realize just kind of like how gross pizza can be in general, or like, I don't know, because that's the problem is that it just doesn't it's not a good translation. But I really do like Cato pizza, and that's kind of like my pizza fix around here. So
Sure.
no problems here, but yeah.
Well, that's the vegan cheese. It's an interesting approximation of.
It's good.
Cheese.
Just not melty.
Depends.
Yeah,
it's like
even in
different.
the microwave, it just kind of
Yeah.
it doesn't do anything.
Doesn't melt. It just kind of wilts.
Well, it's made of plants. What do you expect?
Wilts
There we
like
go. That makes
lettuce.
sense.
That's funny. How long have you two been vegans?
I've been doing it for like 2 years or so.
Yeah. And I'm vegetarian. I'm mostly vegan. I don't drink milk. I only eat pizza. That's my thing. That's why I haven't made the switch, because I love cheesy pizza. But I've been vegetarian for 5 years now.
Really?
4 years?
Wow.
4 or 5 years
I believe
it's been.
I believe it.
Yep.
Yeah, it was cool because I like have this like need to like prove my independence all the time. It's a problem. So I like decided to move to Hawaii by myself. I decided to move to Chicago by myself, and it was really cool because like while my homies were here in Mankato and Minneapolis, like doing their thing, and I'm like doing whatever my thing is. We all made very similar life choices, separate. We all decided to move towards like the vegetarian, vegan lifestyle, more like sustainable practices.
Yep.
And it was really cool that we could separate and like be on our own paths, but still like kind of be learning the same things and like holding some similar values that like developing together, which I think is part of the beauty. Because we've been doing This Is Perfect Harmony together now. I said for that we're going on our 3rd year. And this is the first time that I have lived in Minnesota while we've had this brand. Like we've been running this
separately
across distance for a very, very long time. And
doing
so
FaceTime, and so now that we're finally together, and it worked, but it's just not now that she's here, it's like more, we got this.
Yeah.
Now we have our team together.
I feel from poking around the brand, though, it's very Minnesota based.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it's just,
it is.
it's very odd to me to hear that.
Yeah, I was doing and writing a lot about stuff here, like
Yeah.
doing it remotely. And that's what brought me back, is because we've been gaining a lot of traction here. Because, like, you know, say there's like 3-4 people here in Minnesota working on it, and I was just one person working on it in Chicago. So, like, I was getting little leads here and there. I was getting a couple shows to go to and stuff like that. But for the most part, it was like I was traveling to Minnesota to do the big projects for the website.
Yeah,
Mm.
there's a lot of stuff up here, and I work full time too, so it was so hard on the weekends. It was hard for me to get to events, and
Another body was needed.
Yeah, another body was needed. So now that she's here, I think hitting the ground running is driving. Yeah,
Yep.
Hitting the bus.
hitting the bus driver.
Coming in.
Yes.
We literally
The
took
diesel.
her. We took her bus up from Texas. I flew down there, and we drove it up
Oh,
north.
wow.
Yeah.
It was rough.
I can talk about the bus for hours, so I'm going to
That's
go
a
back
good
to the
ride.
bus. So that's usually a 2-day drive. It's supposed to take 18 hours. We drove from Dallas to Minneapolis. It took us 4 days.
Oh,
And my brakes went out in Kansas City. And we drove up 35 from Kansas City to Minneapolis, having to put brake fluid in every time we stopped. Like, every time we stopped, it was just empty. Yeah.
It was an adventure.
It was quite the adventure. She was so tense afterwards. She had to go get a massage. She like couldn't hang.
I went and got some energy work done. It was great.
oh man.
But it's running now. You can drive it to Texas and back.
It's at the shop right now, getting the brakes fixed. I called them because I like dropped it off like when they weren't there, you know, and I told them, I'll drop off the bus on Sunday if you guys can like look at it throughout the week or whatever. And I like hadn't heard anything from them in like 24 hours, and I like called them the other day and I was like, hey, just wondering if you guys saw the blue bus in the parking lot. They're like, yeah, we saw it. I'm like, okay, like, did you find the keys? They're like, yeah, we found the keys. And it was like so awkward because like I just wanted to check on my baby, you know?
And they were just like, yeah, we found your blue
yeah,
bus.
you can't miss it.
It's here.
But yeah, so it's getting there. And like I've been learning a lot. I've been trying to do some of the mechanical stuff myself, not really acing it, mostly help from other people. But yeah, it's been like everything. It's a 1991 diesel vehicle. So it's a lot of mechanical work, way more than I suspected going into this. So it's, yeah, not completely running yet, but it's getting there. The engine runs, the transmission goes, like the thing like it purrs as much as like a diesel engine can purr. I never thought I would be like so enthralled by the sound of a motor, but like here I am, just like, oh, this buzz. So yeah, it works. It works well, but it just needs like some general maintenance. I bought it in the Midwest, so very rusty, very rusty.
When do you plan to live in it, or are you already living in it?
I am not living in it. I do plan to live in it. That is like further down the road, like life goals. Live in the bus, buy a piece of property. But short-term goals is really turning this into a studio space for us. I really want this to be a space where we can be creative. We have all the tools to be creative, and then we can bring it places and like host the whole team. So right now I'm working on making it so it's comfortable for multiple people to use for like camping trips and creative space. And long-term, live in it. Short-term, slay with This Is Perfect Harmony and
Make it
have a big blue bus.
Yeah. That's what we want. We want to pull up to festivals and people are like, oh my gosh, This Is Perfect Harmony's here.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, in the big blue bus.
So can I like do a request? If there's any artists listening to this, I want artists to help me paint the outside of the bus in exchange for like exposure. So, and like putting your Instagram handle on it stuff, we'll live stream it. But contact me if you want your painting on the bus. That's all.
Be very cool. Big
Yes.
bus mural.
Yeah, like a bunch of like little ones, you know, give everybody like a little like 2 feet by 2 feet or something where they can do their thing. And then like think about it, like that image and that Instagram handle gets to like go all over and people can like look it up. So
That sounds awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk about some of the things we chatted about the other day.
Yes.
So,
I'm here for.
Yeah, I'll preface this one a little bit. So one of the reasons that we talked to each other in the first place was kind of getting our audiences talking to one another and helping each other out. So we were thinking about doing some Mankato-based events and, well, what they would look like. And well, you can tell us some things about what you thought that would be good about that.
Yeah, I'm super excited because it's always been my goal with This Is Perfect Harmony to eventually throw a festival and events. So when you guys came to us, I was like, yes, this is so cool. So what we really want to do is, get the Triple Falls crew together and start doing live streams. Like do what did we say? Once a month. Try to do once a month. Sorry.
Start with 1 month, then go
See
two,
what
and
happens.
then see about 3.
Yes, getting ahead of myself. See, I'm excited. But yeah, just local Mankato artists, local, smaller. We want it, women, diversity, LGBT, any of those, and maybe eventually build it.
Yeah, different types of arts too.
But
so the idea would be that we're hosting these live streams until COVID lifts, and then once COVID is done and we can start getting people together physically, we would like to kind of take the community we built online, centered in Mankato, and actually like bring it to an event where we can, and a multi-level art event too. Like we're not just talking like music for and I'm really stoked about that for like this project. Working with you guys is we're not just going to work on the music. Like we want to
bring in
like
artists
in there and
artists.
different little things like that. Yeah.
I think we have the infrastructure for that here, and like looking at this, there's just not. There's 1 or 2 festivals in Mankato, but it's not really what I would expect to see when I think of like a music festival like that. So, hopefully we can get past the digital events and one day put something out, as long as we're getting way ahead of ourselves.
So what's interesting, I think, is that
Dream big.
Mankato is such a college town. There's such a great population of like millennials here and like the upcoming generation and everything. But like you said, those festivals are like Rib Fest. They're not nothing against Rib Fest, not because I'm vegan. They're not like targeted at the younger generation. Like they're targeted towards like bringing families out and like different things like that. And I think like what we're all kind of picturing is something like where our like-minded community can kind of like get together and enjoy the arts and like have a good time. And of course everybody's invited, but like we really want to make sure it's like a carefree, fun, safe environment. So, and I think that's something we're gonna have a lot of fun doing because, like,
I wish it wasn't COVID. I wish we could start this live and get the ground running.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, better times, but I think it'd be good.
Well, a lot of that is what we've talked about too, with people going from Mankato to places like this in the cities just for shows, and so giving some people a little bit of an option down here.
It would be
trying
so amazing.
To cultivate different moods.
Yeah. That was something you guys had us reflecting on. Was when we lived in Mankato, it was probably once a month.
Yeah.
We were like going up to Minneapolis and getting a hotel room just because like there wasn't much being brought down here. So I think,
we went to our events.
Yeah, if you need something, build it, like we want a music community in Mankato. We want that, and not just for like ourselves, but like for the next generations coming through. Like you said, like Mankato is like a place where people, they see it as a place to leave, but like there's people, like we need to like establish it as a place to stay and like a place to grow. And I think like making sure that there's
music
and things for
and then not just I know we're all guilty of this, going downtown and just every weekend 2:00. It gets old after a while, and Mankato has a reputation of being that party town, but let's bring some live music to the party. And
well, those things are certainly here. I just feel as if like we have a very vibrant music community. A lot of people just, they're gigging in the cities, or they've played out so much here that it just is what it is. Like everyone will tell you a little bit about music in Mankato, and there's always kind of a but no.
Well, hopefully we can change that and get some cool stuff rolling.
I
think it'll
so
be
much faith.
a great partnership with y'all with that. So
very hopeful for the future.
It's great. Should we wrap it up here? I think we're nearing our time limits. Why don't you do some shout outs, plugs, maybe give you a chance for that.
Ooh. Okay, I guess honestly, like shout out to our team right now, which is really growing. We've had a couple more people get interested in helping out, so a lot of love to all of those people. A big shout out to the Galactic Get Down Music Festival. And
they've been our number one supporters, helpers, idea people.
Yeah,
they've really helped us grow, and we've helped them grow.
They're amazing.
They're Minneapolis based, so check
Yeah.
them out. Get Down Enterprises. They're doing a lot of cool stuff right now.
Yeah, I think they're definitely the ones we're working with the most.
And then
I want to shout out No Boys in the Booth because I'm really obsessed with that organization, and we
Yes.
haven't really worked with them much, and it's all women in the electronic music scene, and I think it's really cool how you guys pay attention to us.
That's a really cool team too. TSO is one of the main organizers of that, and basically they do all women DJ nights.
Yeah.
At different venue or pre-COVID. Yeah, I've met her a couple times, and she's great.
And then the Romer Dome Familia too. There's something that we've been cultivating relationship with as well. And they're Minneapolis based too. These are both like groups that do a lot more like the jam bands and like the acoustic type stuff. But yeah, I think honestly that's it for our real strong people we're working with recently.
Right on. And then where can people keep up with you going forward?
Yay! So we're very active on Twitter as perf, PERF _harmony _. And then we're active on Instagram at This Is Perfect Harmony. We have a This Is Perfect Harmony LLC Facebook page. And then I'm personally trying to get our TikTok going. But if you guys want to follow me on TikTok, we're going to also be doing hopefully more Perfect Harmony, sustainability, art. I'm doing some of the bus upkeep on there, but that's Doob Step Princess, DOOBSTEPRINCESS. So
follow us.
Yeah, so we're all over the
Validate
socials.
us.
Yeah, shoot us an email. Check out our webpage.
Yeah, we're hashtag This Is Perfect Harmony. I never mentioned the name of the podcast. It will be called This Is a Podcast.
Get
It's
it?
a
Podcast spelled
With
PHOD.
Podcast.
That's fun.
Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yeah,
I
I'm
like
glad
it.
people laugh.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it'll be hashtag podcast spelled PHODCAST. Keep a lookout for that. Hashtag This Is a Schoolie.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, find us everywhere.
we're on all of them.
Great. Well,
Cool.
So yeah.
thank you for joining us on the cast, and we look forward to working with you more in the future.
Yeah,
Thanks for having
guys.
us. Can't wait to have you guys on our podcast.
Definitely. All right.